Hello, welcome to Smash Hit Sports. We have an incredible guest on today. She's conquered the pool. Now she's taking over the NIL world, from chlorine to contracts, from lanes to logistics. She dominates NIL for the 502 Circle at Louisville. Give it up for the Queen of Cards, incredible pun by me, Paige McCormick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. What a great intro. I have to steal that for my resume.
Oh yeah. I thought Queen of Cards in terms of Louisville obviously, and I was like, I have to work this in somehow. Might as well throw it in the intro. So
No, I love
Paige, welcome to the show. I want to give a brief background for the people who may not be familiar with your stuff or may not be familiar with you as an athlete. You were an absolute stud Division I swimmer at Louisville, which is where you are now. What was your experience as a phenomenal high-level D1 athlete?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how much it's changed, but I think as a Division I athlete, you realize how much of a privilege you really do have in the sports world. Like for me, growing up, I loved swimming. I knew I always wanted to go Division I in some way. I just didn't know really what that meant, especially when you're younger and you love a sport. Like everyone says they want to go professional or be an Olympian or certain things like that. So my experience was great. My recruiting was awesome at Louisville. Recruiting obviously has changed so much since I think it was like 7 or 8 years ago, but I had a bunch of visits, ended up falling in love with Louisville's campus like halfway through all my scheduled visits and canceled them and stayed for all 4 years, which I'm super grateful for because the transfer portal now is just crazy. So I loved my team. I was actually a captain there for 2 years, loved it so much that now I work for part of Louisville. So it was just a great experience and a great college town to be a part of.
Was it always swimming? Was that always like, hey, this is what we're going to do from a young age? Or is it like, hey, I was a multi-sport athlete in high school and swimming was just what I was the best at or what I loved? How focused has your training been and for how long?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually grew up playing a little bit of every sports just because my parents wanted us to be involved. Anyway, I actually have a twin brother, which is another fun fact.
Nice.
So him and I did a lot of the sports together. I ended up just hating any land sport. I was just not good at it. So I took up summer swimming when I was 8. Naturally, you just gravitate towards what you're good at. So was really good at it, found my kind of niche. Didn't really start training till I was 11, where I did year round. And then I didn't start doing doubles till I was, I think, 13. So I think it's interesting to see how there's the new specialization of young athletes when I did it just because it was the only thing I was good at. But yeah, I've been training the doubles I did it for 10 years, which is crazy to look back on.
Yeah, I've always thought swimmers are some of the most insane athletes in terms of the actual athletic prowess that you have in order to do what you do in the water, but also there's a little mental insanity going on there as well because swimming practice isn't at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday through Friday. That's not how swimming works. It's early mornings, it's late nights, it's crazy travel schedules. What was the most insane part about being a swimmer at the highest level?
Oh, that's a good one. You're asking so many good questions. I think the most insane part, honestly, was the practices. You think when you're, getting into your peak and transitioning into high school to college that you're okay, I've trained enough, I'm prepared. And that transition, it's a lot. I remember we would do practices where you're swimming 10,000 yards and then that's in the morning. And then you come back and you swim another 8. And then you also have a lift session in between in classes. So balancing that and the challenge of your training stretches, because for swimming it's a really interesting sport that we really don't have an off season because the Olympics and all of the national teams are in the summer. So you train year round and you only get a week off in August and April. So you get 2 weeks off for the whole year.
Crazy.
And that's it. And 20 hours is not non-existent. It's 25 plus for swimming. So it's just a crazy grind like any sport, but there's no off season.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. That is something where if you're not loving the process, I feel like you could fall out of love with the sport very quickly. It's not like basketball where it's oh, the games are fun, practices kind of suck, but it is what it is. Swimming is swimming. There is no a ton of variation between practices and meets and everything. So you got to fall in love with the process. You won NIL Innovator of the Year in 2024, which hell of a thing to put on a resume. I mean, it sounds phenomenal. But how did that come about, and how did that help you transition into where you are now?
Yeah. So first off, I mean, super grateful I found out I was nominated on my birthday, which is really funny. I was just
That's
like,
sick.
this is like the best birthday present ever. Like I get to go compete with all these athletes who are doing amazing stuff. So was totally not expecting it. But I think I give all my credit back to, I was a part of a program that Meta actually has. I think they're in their fourth year of it now, but I was in their second year. It was just called NIL Empower, where they select 30 athletes, application process, and they basically just coach you through NIL. It was a really innovative way, and still is, to empower female athletes. So one of their challenges was to create a Reels series. And I was like, I don't really know like what I want to do, but I actually major in sports administration. So I always loved the business side of sports. So I ended up doing a podcast where I interviewed every single sport for U of L. So I had 25 episodes of like what an athlete's experience is in NIL. So we had Quincy Riley, who's wide receiver star, to Carly Haynes, who's a golfer who does her own NIL deals. So you kind of got to see all of that. So I think that kind of helped me like emerge as this kind of person who's not afraid to talk about NIL, because it was so taboo back then, even though it was only a couple years ago. And that kind of got me into the process of like advocation. Got to speak on Capitol Hill when all the House agreement stuff was going on a couple years ago, which is crazy that it just got passed. So I think that kind of like helped push me towards this award. And then my podcast was actually sponsored by 502 Circle, which is where I work now. So it was kind of like my trial run at my first big girl job, and it all connects, like it all flows, and that's how I've always wanted it to be.
Great transition. 502 Circle. What do you guys do there? What is that process? NIL is such a huge umbrella that covers a lot more than actual name, image, and likeness when it was, originally started. What do you do in your day-to-day, and what does 502 Circle do?
Yeah, so I'll start with what 502 Circle does. So like you said, NIL is way more than just the marketing agency, which is kind of where my focus has mainly started to transition to. But we help with recruiting. We help assist the coaches in any way. Like if they have any questions about NIL, they come to us, or they come to the university. Like we work pretty hand in hand with them on their marketing schemes and their education, and how can we all work together, especially now in this new House era. Like we have meetings with them almost every day on how we can be coworkers and work together for these athletes, rather than kind of two heads fighting for each other, which I think is a really good advantage of Louisville. My like day-to-day jobs is all about the partnerships and how we actually execute our NIL deals. So we have a media network called Floyd Street Media, which was founded by College Sports Co. And we'll do a little plug in for Floyd Street Media, but
Absolutely.
I work on the creative side on how to negotiate with athletes and negotiating with brands and getting athletes out there. So like one of the things that we just finished up was we did bobbleheads with Case and Pryor, and we did it at a local place right near the Yum Center, which is where they play. So just like finding ways to get athletes in the community, which is really fun. That's what I've always wanted to do. So it keeps me busy for sure.
Love it. What's the biggest misconception fans have about NIL?
I would say the biggest misconception is that the athletes are just like getting paid and not doing anything. Because I feel like people normally, like that's what we're striving towards, is people go on social media and they see the regular posts. Like that's traditionally what NIL really was, is your endorsements. And I think if people don't see them posting on social media, they like don't think they're out in the community. Kind of trying to switch that around so that anytime they're out in the community that they're posting on social media, but some guys just like aren't comfortable with that. So we try, like my job is to try to navigate and help them best utilize their NIL. Like some players are just shy, some don't like public speaking. Like how can we utilize that where they're getting paid because they're playing well and they're earning their NIL, but we're not just handing them a check and them not doing anything, which I'm sure, I mean, just watched a 30 for 30 about Miami. Like it's all changed now, and it's crazy the amount of exposure the athletes are getting and the amount of money that's getting thrown around, but it's all intentional here, which is really nice. Like they're not just spending just to spend, which is good.
Yeah, it's something I've always been fascinated with is the difference between athletes even 5-10 years ago in you knew the biggest names in college sports, but you couldn't get close to them at all because they weren't allowed to. And now like there will be guys at small schools, big schools, whatever, that have 50, 60, 100,000 followers on social media. And it's a completely different world. And I love to see the personalities behind the sports because I think a lot of times, especially in college athletics, you get people who root for a logo or a university or an institution. And at the end of the day, there's also like people and kids in like these student athletes involved. And I love seeing, what that life is like from their perspective. NIL deals can be very, very fun. I think some of the best ones I've seen, like General Booty of Louisiana Monroe having a underwear deal, and DeColdest Crawford working with an AC company in Nebraska. Like, what is your favorite NIL deal that you've seen?
Oh, I'll do one that I actually worked on this past year. So we partnered with a pizza company here in Louisville where we did designed pizzas for some of the basketball players. So Chucky Hepburn, we did the Hepburn Heat. So like we did a full commercial with him, and it was just like this really fun, unique way. And Chucky ended up loving it. And like I would go to, it's called Parlor Pizza. Like I would go there and order it, and like we'd have birthday parties there. Like it was just a really fun experience because Louisville hadn't done anything like that before. And it's like setting us up. We did one in baseball. We're getting ready to do one in football. Like it's just a really fun experience. My favorite NIL deal that I've seen, I don't know if you technically count it as NIL now that they're professional, but Paige Beckers with her Shirley Temple Gatorade. I don't know why. Like I just love that. It's so fun when athletes just like own their personality, and I feel like she's done such a good job at like not shying away from the media and just like going all in, like including her teammates. Like I really like the way that she models her NIL. Obviously it's top of mind because I literally just read an article on it a couple days ago, but I think that one's just really fun because I do think we're gonna see more like product placed athletes kind of like in that sense, just because there is so much to sell, especially with the bigger names.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see people put their own twist on things because we've seen anybody can read like standard copy from a commercial and do the thing that they're supposed to. I love seeing athletes, add their own personality to it. Speaking of merch, I'm going to do a little ad read here because, we got to get paid somehow, right? And if you are a Louisville fan or any college sports fan and you want to grab merch for your favorite college sports program ahead of this season, head to Home Field Apparel. It's clean. It fits right. I have the I'm a Beaver Believer shirt for Oregon State, but they have every school, and I mean every school, from like Delta State, Mississippi Valley State to Louisville, and all of the biggest programs in college athletics. It's really cool gear, a lot of throwback stuff. Use code SMASH to get 15% off your first purchase at Home Field. That's homefieldapparel.com, promo code SMASH. Speaking of Smash, we have to do a little Smash or Pass because this is Smash Hits Sports. So Smash or Pass on a couple of these, little NIL topics. Smash or pass, most athletes are getting life-changing money through NIL.
Oh, smash, for sure. I think every athlete, no matter what way you're using NIL, it's life-changing. For me, I didn't earn that much, but it helped pay my rent. Like, small things like that we have players who they were living in a car before in high school, and now they're able to afford rent, help their family out. Like, it really is, and it can help you set up your whole life. Like it is life-changing money.
Yeah, it's something that like when I graduated college, I had probably $25 in my bank account. I had just enough money to put down rent for the first month before I started my, big boy post-college job. And being able to just have a little bit of safety in a bank account when you graduate before you go onto the real world is a huge deal, even if it's not, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is Smash or Pass, only football and basketball really make the biggest deals in NIL?
Pass. I think everyone
Obviously,
thinks like,
right?
Duh, Olympic athlete over here, but I think it really is interesting to see how every sport utilizes NIL in its own way. I think football, you see less of like the flashy deals when basketball, especially women's basketball and volleyball, you see like the more unique ones, but there's a couple athletes out there, like the track and field ones, that are able to make money off their NIL and get those flashy deals that aren't necessarily always reported on. They're sneaky with it, and I love it.
Yeah, and I think it's cool too that there's so many athletes outside of just the ones that you see on ESPN and College Game Day, right? And that is something where I think NIL, it makes all the noise in the news for, hey, college football, what are these rosters going to look like? How are you going to pay these guys? Blah, blah, blah. To me, NIL is most life-changing for every other sport, right? That's where I think it makes the biggest impact. Speaking of Louisville, the women's volleyball team, you brought them up, had an all-time season. How do you work with athletes when they have momentum like that, right? They are making a run in the tournament. They are playing out of their minds. How do you capitalize on, those types of moments?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think volleyball, especially here, is such a unique sport because they're content creators. Like I see them posting all the time. They post organically, so they're really easy to keep momentum going. I feel like typically you see it with like the guys, unfortunately, like posting is just a little less incentivizing for them when the female athletes are really active on social media. So for them, it's honestly just encouraging them to post like behind the scenes things that people normally wouldn't think about, especially because we're in Louisville. Like we're able to capitalize. Like we had a little like hat making session at the Final Four, so like Kentucky Derby's literally right down the road, so like they were all able to post about that and like just fun unique things that are specific to Louisville just because the Final Four and championship was in Louisville. And we kind of planned it for that way. We were kind of hoping that they would make it, and they were really fun to work with this year, and they always are amazing just because they post organically, and it's really just reminding them to capitalize off of it. And they do most of the work, which is really nice. We're just there to help them and guide them.
Yeah, you're the facilitator, the point guard, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
I'm interested to see your response on this one because I don't know. When I played college football, but D3 and before NIL was a thing, smash or pass, NIL impacts how teammates interact in the locker room.
I'm going to say pass, but this is based off of personal experience and like what I've noticed from my time at Louisville is like people normally don't talk about their NIL. I think it's just like a general understanding. And like, I feel like for a lot of it, it was very like under wraps. Some people sign NDAs when they sign contracts. Like there are things you specifically can't say. So I don't think it like bothers anything, but I think it also, you have to recruit the right people and know how your team is going to work, like the dynamics of it. Like I know there was an issue on our football team a couple years ago, and the coach was like, "We're not doing this. Like you're off the team." Like the culture of a team is how you're successful, no matter how much you pay people. Like they have to trust each other and they have to have that chemistry. So if there's someone, complaining that they're not making enough money or that this person's getting overpaid, it causes tension because, it's money at the end of the day. But I never had any issues with it, and I never heard of any on specific teams besides that one instance. But I think our coaches do a good job of setting the standard that, like, we're here to compete and win championships. But I'm not blind to the fact that I'm sure it happens everywhere, because why wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I'm sure like it's one of those things where you don't talk about another person's money. You don't date an ex of somebody else on the team, right? Like there's just some unwritten rules in college sports where it's like, hey, we're not going to do that, And I imagine that again, when you have a place that builds a great culture and has a good foundation and has great leadership like Louisville does, you don't have to worry about a lot of that stuff because it takes care of itself. Last one for the smash or pass: local brand deals greater than national brand deals.
Oh, I'm going to say smash, specifically because I think being able to connect in your community is so important, and it can lead to the longevity of deals. I feel like in the beginning of NIL, there were a lot of transactional deals where they were like, okay, if you do this one post, we'll pay you this much. But now there's like months, years worth of deals. Like my longest deal was with a local salad place for 2 years. Like it's so random,
Nice.
but like that's what people knew me as is like it was called vinaigrette salad, and there was like a couple of us who like would just go and promote it, and it was a good place. So I think that has a bigger impact, especially if you're like a local athlete. I think if you're like a national branded athlete like Carson Beck or, the Cavender twins or Livy Dunn, like those national deals do a really good job. But for the normal athlete, the local ones are really where the money is.
Yeah, and I think it extends the bond that athletes have with the communities and the people around them, which I think is one of my favorite parts of, when I went to college, there were places that I would go every Friday to eat because they had a pizza deal. That was my spot. I would go and it's cool to see those relationships build. Another segment here, little athlete versus real life deal. Would you rather? What is more stressful, swim practice or answering emails to executives and CEOs and administrators and all those higher ups?
Let me think about that because sometimes those can be scary. I would say swim practice solely because the physical aspect of it. Like I've never thrown up from having to send an email where I've thrown up from practice. Like that's like solely it. But like double checking spell check and everything, and like that's the stressful part, like the mentally challenging part. But practice for sure harder. I've had some doozies.
Yeah, I can imagine. What would you rather have, the routine of being a college athlete or the freedom that you have post-grad where your job might not necessarily be 9 to 5, it's a little chaotic?
Oh, it's so hard because I love a routine. But the freedom, honestly, of just being able to do what you want and having like control over your life is really nice. So I would say that. And like you can establish a routine from that, somewhat of a routine. We got into a little bit, but it's nice to have the flexibility and be able to, travel and work at different places. So I would say the flexibility.
The flexibility is nice, but I do agree that and there are some things that like as a college athlete, you carry with you even after your playing days are done. What's one thing that you have that you still do even from your time swimming?
People are gonna think I'm crazy for this, but like I still have to work out early in the morning. It's just like become a routine. Like I'll work out at 6 a.m., go do my little I have to do a team workout, so I found a place that's like all this team weightlifting stuff and biking. So I go do that and then I get into my usual routine. So I still like have to do something in the morning because I feel like if I don't do something, I just feel like lazy the whole day. And it's such a it's a good habit, but it annoys me sometimes because I'm like, I just want to sleep in, but I can't.
Yeah, that's one thing that I found myself missing is the team aspect of working out. Like now I'm used to it now. I go to the gym, I'm either by myself or I go with my wife and we have a good time. But I kind of do my own thing. I do miss the going in with my position group. There were 8 to 10 guys. You crushed a workout together. You pushed each other. You don't really have that in the real world. So I'm glad it sounds like you found a spot where you still get to do that, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I got really lucky.
Do you still swim? Is that, you hop in the water every once in a while?
I try to. There was a point in the winter where I'd go once a week, and then I was like, you know what? It's getting too cold for me to swim at indoors to go back outside. So
Yep.
I've stopped. It's been maybe 7 months, which is the longest I've ever gone, which is actually
Crazy.
crazy to think about.
Crazy. All right, last segment before we wrap it up. We have a little rapid fire Louisville Cardinal edition. So you mentioned a couple spots to eat. What's your favorite place to eat in Louisville?
I would say the Eagle. It's a just chicken place, but it has the best chicken sandwich and grilled cheese. It's my hidden secret.
I mean, it checks out. Kentucky is so known for their chicken.
I have to give a chicken one. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Somebody walks up to you and they say, "Oh, you play for," and they say Louisville or Louisville. What is worse?
Louisville, for sure. Even on broadcast, when people say it, I cringe. I'm like, oh, say it right, please. Say Louisville.
I I grew up in Cincinnati, and I've been making like sports content for a couple years now. I have a small subsection of Louisville Cardinals fans who I swear followed me just because I say Louisville normally. Like, they're like, this guy, he knows how to say it, nobody else does, I'm following him. And it's like, thanks, man, I appreciate that.
Yes, yeah. It's a really big, because when I got here, because I'm from near like Cleveland, there's a Louisville, Cleveland. So I was like, oh, I'm going to University of Louisville for a visit. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I
That's
was
crazy.
Like, and they corrected me quick. And since that day, I have not said it wrong.
Love it. Love it. Who's one athlete headed into, this next school year that everybody should know about?
I would say on the football side, Isaac Brown. I think he's going to be one to really watch for. He's one of our running backs this year. He's a true sophomore, and he killed it last year as a true freshman. And then I want to give one on the men and women's side. So on the women's side, Nalise Cabello, she's actually from Florida. She plays volleyball. She's a junior. She's just like such a hard worker. I mean, I see her do all of her NIL stuff. Like, I know she's going to just have an amazing year, and it's going to be really fun to watch her.
Love it. There are like a handful of sports at Louisville that I think are this close to winning a national championship. Who do you think is the next sport at Louisville to win a national title?
I think it's going to go women's volleyball. I think they have a really good shot this year. I think football has a good shot of going to the playoffs this year. Obviously, that's always the goal, but I think we're going to surprise a couple people. And then our basketball team is shaping up to be a really, really good group, even after, a couple injuries last year. Like, I think they have a shot to go to the championship and just absolutely kill it and surprise a couple people. So that's my early March Madness prediction.
Love it.
If we can mark it on the dot.
Love it. Hey, I'll hold you to it that, we'll say Paige is in for a deep tournament run. But
Yes,
I agree
yes.
that the volleyball team was so electric to watch this past season, and I'm excited to watch again this fall. What is the most underrated sport at Louisville?
I hate to say it, but swimming.
You don't have to apologize. All right, you could just be like, I love to say it, swimming.
They're good. They are good. They've had 7 years, I believe, in a row, or 7 out of the last 8 years finishing top 5 in the nation. And they're crazy. We had a girl last year be a national runner-up. We have 3 girls going to Germany this week to compete for USA. So not as like a, big sport, but the people that follow it are loyal. And I think there's going to be a couple Olympians out of this team. So that's always really fun to watch and very underrated, but I'm a little biased.
I look, you don't have to explain it to me. I agree 100%. And there's always something where it's really cool to watch a athlete compete for the university that you love, but then you take it to the next level and they put on that USA jersey and you go full screeching bald eagle, like, yeah, let's go. Like, that's my girl, that's my guy.
My best friend and roommate all through college, she actually competed for USA for swimming, and she tied for a gold medal in one of her races at Pan Am's, and it was near 4th of July. It was the best time. It was you can't replicate it. It was the coolest experience ever. And I wasn't even there. I was in Brazil. I was like, this is awesome. I love America.
That's so cool. So
yeah,
cool.
It's sweet.
All right, last one I got for you. What is I'm sure teams listen to different music when you get ready. What's the worst song that you've heard on a pregame playlist where you're just like, this just brought the mood down. I can't do this.
I'm trying to think, because we actually were able to control all of our music, but there was one time, this was before even college, this was in high school, where we had a small radio. The song Like a G6 played nonstop for a 2-hour practice.
Oh my God.
Turn it off. We can't even hear it the whole time, but anytime you get to the wall, that's all you hear. And it scarred me, so I can't listen to it.
Yeah, there's no shot. There's in college, our rivals, their colors were black and yellow. So the entire practice, the week leading up to that game, they would play nothing but Black and Yellow by Wiz Khalifa, and I don't have that song on a single playlist anymore. I just can't do it.
Yeah, it's sometimes I can't even look at it. It's brings back the trauma of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Paige, I appreciate you coming on. How can people support or learn more about the 502 Circle?
Yeah, so you can check us out on social media at On Instagram, it's at 502_circle. Facebook, it's the same. And then Floyd Street Media on Instagram, TikTok, all of the above is at Floyd Street Media. Then if you want to check out my stuff, it's at paige.mccormick, spelled like the Spice Company.
Love it. Paige, thanks again for coming on. All of those will be linked in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or in the description of the audio version of this podcast. We appreciate you, and we will see you in the next one.